Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to the Nick Walker Ministries YouTube channel. Don't forget to hit that like button, hit that bell, and subscribe to this channel. That way you will be the first to know whenever a new video or a new short, it's the things we do on YouTube, you will be the first to know when they pop up. Now, I'm in 1 Kings, and I just read something that stunned me, and I've heard people mention this, but generally when King Solomon, the son of David, and he's the one that took the throne after David. David passed the baton to his son Solomon, and Solomon is regarded as perhaps the wisest man who ever lived, outside of Christ, of course. And that's how many people view Solomon as the wisest man. He wrote many Ecclesiastes, he wrote many of the Proverbs, and so he is regarded as a man of very, very high wisdom and knowledge and understanding. He's also regarded as a man who was very, very wealthy. He is the one who built the first temple in Israel, and so there's a lot of great things that can be said about Solomon. And so right at the front of this, I do want to say I am not here to disparage Solomon's life, his ministry, or the kingdom that he led. I do want to say this, though, that it's very, very important who we are connected to. And again, I've heard people mention this about Solomon, but we generally kind of, when it's mentioned, it's just kind of mulled over, okay, well, yeah, this happened. But I think it's really so important to focus on for just a minute. So keep in mind that Solomon, he had it all. And I had this written down here. He had all the riches. He had all the wisdom. He had all the great family lineage. So like he had a lot of great history behind him. He had all the knowledge. He had great influence to the point where kings and queens and rulers were coming to Israel and sitting down with Solomon and were so amazed at this man's wisdom. Like, imagine being so wise that leaders of other nations are coming and not going to battle with you, but just sitting down and listening to you speak. That's the level that we're talking about with Solomon. He had all the influence, he had great power, and he had great favor. He had all of this that a human being could ask for. We remember the beginning of Solomon's life, how the Lord appeared to him, and also he had 2 separate visitations from God himself. God visited this man twice. Like, God himself comes and speaks with him. And one of those visitations is when the Lord gives Solomon an opportunity and ask Solomon to ask the Lord for anything. If he could ask the Lord for one thing, what would it be? And Solomon asked the Lord for wisdom. And the Lord says, and we all know this story, because he says, because you've not asked for riches or this or that, I will give you what you've asked for. And because he's asked for that, the Lord basically says, I will add all those other things unto you because of the wisdom. But watch this, though. The Lord did give a condition when Solomon became king. The last thing David said to him was to keep God's ordinances, to keep God's statutes, to keep God's commandments, to walk upright before the Lord, to walk in righteousness, so that the hand of the Lord can be on his kingdom, so that the hand of God can be on his life and on his administration. So we get all the way to 1 Kings chapter 11, and this is what it said. Now King Solomon loved many foreign women, along with the daughter of Pharaoh, Moabite, Ammonite, Edomite, Sidonian, the Hittite women from the nations concerning which the Lord had said to the sons of Israel, you shall not associate with them, nor shall they associate with you, for they will surely turn your heart away from the Lord. And Solomon held fast to these women in love. He had 700 wives, princesses, 300 concubines, and his wives turned his heart away. For when Solomon was old, his wives turned his heart away after other gods, and his heart was not wholly devoted to the Lord as his father David had been. And so, for Solomon went after Ashtoreth. I've got a whole message on Ashtoreth and the uprising of Ashtoreth and Moloch in our culture. It's called Confronting America's Overlooked Principality. You can get that on DVD on our website. And so Solomon goes after Ashtoreth, the goddess of the Sidonians, and after Malcolm, the detestable idol of the Ammonites. Now, Milcom it can also be called Moloch. There were different words for different cultures to describe Moloch. So Milcom is Moloch in this culture, but the point is that Solomon, with all these different women, it caused his heart to turn away from the Lord. Now, I'm not making this video to tell you who to date. I'm not making this video to tell you who to marry. I'm not here to even disparage women. I'm not here to disparage another race or another woman. And this is unfortunately where some people get the idea of no interracial marriages, and that's an unfortunate idea, because that's not the point here. The point is that God was asking Solomon not to follow after people from these other cultures who were involved in idol worship. See, it was not about following after a woman. It was not about following after another race. It was about following after another spirit, after following after another God. And so what was happening here is not just that Solomon was marrying and having and taking these women, but that he was connected to people who were connected to other spirits. And so what I want to say to you is that the Lord can give you all the favor. He can give you all the wisdom. He can give you all the knowledge, all the understanding. He can give you all the great favor that men and women look at you and perhaps are jealous of the favor that's on your life. He can give you all of that. But the problem is this: if you are connected to the wrong people, I'm not just talking about as a husband or a wife. I'm talking about friends and different people that you have invited into your circle. The fall of Solomon was through his connections, not through his like a lack of prayer time. Not that he fell away in some kind of terrible sin. The problem was that who he was connected to was leading him to their gods and leading them after their own idolatry. And at the end of Solomon's life, it goes on to say that he even erects idols and statues in the high places to go and worship these idols. The word I want to leave you with is this. And again, the problem with Solomon was not that he was following after another race. The problem with Solomon was not that he had a woman in his life. Now, one of the problems we could say is that he had many women in his life, and of course this culture does not promote that. We're going to marry one person, so we could perhaps suggest that Solomon had too many women in his life. But the problem is not that he was connected to a woman. The problem is that he was connected to the wrong to the people with wrong hearts and wrong spirits and wrong motives. And so what I want to say to you is this: whether it's a spouse, whether it's a friend, or any kind of relationship, the connections that you make can draw you closer to the Lord, or they can pull you further away from the Lord. That's one of the questions that I've had to ask in all of my relationships. Are they bringing me closer to God? When I go and hang out with this friend, do I feel like I can't talk about God at all? Is that a sensitive topic for me? Or when I hang around this friend, does he promote me to prayer? Does he cause me to think upon good things? Do they cause me to think upon holy and righteous things? Or do they turn my heart somewhere else? The problem with Solomon was nothing inside of his house. The problem with Solomon was what he was connected to and who he was connecting with. And so the question that I think we need to ask is, are our connections, the people in our circle, not just our romantic relationships, but the people, anyone that we are intimate with and we share deep things with, and we have fellowship with, are those connections causing us to grow closer to the Lord, or are they pulling us further away from the Lord? And I might suggest to you that you can have all the favor, all the riches, all the anointing that you want, but if you make the wrong connections, you will ultimately be pulled away from God at the end. So I pray that you ponder on that. I pray that was a challenge and a conviction to you. Be careful who you have in that inner circle. It can pull you away from the Lord and all the things that He's given unto you. So thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy your weekends, and we'll see you here next time on the Nick Walker Ministries YouTube channel. God bless you.